Okay, so reflexive is just when it's the same angle. Symmetric, again, we don't ever use that. It's just you switch the order. If A equals B, B equals A. Transitive works for angles too. If angle A equals angle B and B equals C, what do you know about angle A and angle C? They're equal to each other. So it's just like the segment stuff we did yesterday, except with angles. So here we have an example, and we have done this before, so that's why it should be fairly easy. In this diagram, it tells us that 1 equals 5, and that 5 equals 3, and that 1 is 103 degrees. What is the measure then of angle 3? 103. Now, if we did on our assignment, we don't need to explain our reasoning, if I forget to tell you that. But do you know why it's 103? Because they're vertical. That's the easiest thing to say. But what they're trying to get you to see is since 1 equals 5 and 3 equals 5, then 1 and 3 have to equal each other, right? Because they're equal to the same angle.
1 equals 103 then.
Right.
Yeah.
So without the picture though, if 4 equals 6 and 6 equals 8, what do you know about 4 and 8? They're equal. So if they tell you the measure of 8 is 77, what's the measure of 4? That's also 77. Okay? Right angle congruence. All right angles, everyone knows how many degrees a right angle is. 90? So if they're all 90, that means they're all equal or congruent. Common sense, right?
Yeah.
Here, this just tells us what we already did. If 1 and 2 are supplementary, which means they add up to 180, we'll write that over here. And 2 and 3 add up to 180. Since this is actual proof, this is a short way to do it. If we were doing this as a proof, these two would be given. Since this equals 180 and this equals 180, they're both equal to 180, so what do you know about these two things? They're equal to each other, right? So angle 1 plus angle 2 has to equal angle 2 plus angle 3 because they're both equal to 180. Do you know what reason you would put for that? There's 2 you could put. Substitution. I just put this in place of that. Or it's the transitive property. Now, if you treat this like an algebra equation, do you notice anything that'll cancel out? The 2's. If I subtract angle 2 from each side, I'm left with angle 1 equals angle 3, right?
Yeah.
And all I did was substitution, or not subtraction. So I just proved what I was going to show you.
Yes.
If 2 angles are supplementary to the same angle, they got to be equal to each other. I just proved it right here, 1 equals 3. Okay? Now, if you put numbers in here, it'd be a lot easier to understand that. If this is 140 degrees, and 1 and 2 are supplementary, what does 1 have to be?
40.
40. And then if they tell you that 2 and 3 are supplementary, what does 3 have to be?
40.
So there you can see 1 and 3 have to be equal, right? That is also true with complements. Complement, remember, adds up to 90. If they tell us that 5 is a 70-degree angle and 4 and 5 are complementary, 4 has to be 20. And then they tell us 5 and 6 are also complementary, 20. There you can see 6 has to equal 4. So if two angles are complementary to the same angle, they have to be equal to each other. Here we've got a long one. And they got extra stuff in there, so I'm going to show you how to do it a little shorter. Okay, the givens are angle 1 and angle 2 are complements. Angle 3 and angle 4 are complements. I'm going to save this given for a little later. You can put it in right away, but you don't need to. I'll show you why. Now, this is where it's kind of overkill, but you need to put it in your proof to show it. Since they're complements, what does that mean?
They're equal to 90.
They add up to 90. So you got to put that in there. Angle 1 plus angle 2 equals 90, and angle 3 plus angle 4 equals 90. And all that is, it's the definition of complementary angles. So that's your reason. Okay? Now, like we did before, since these two both equal 90, what do you know about these two things?
They're the same.
They're equal. So angle 1 plus angle 2 has to equal angle 3 plus angle 4. And what did I just do there? Substitution. Now, nothing cancels out yet though, right? Like it did before?
No.
So that's where you go back to this given, right there. Angle 2 equals angle 4. That's given to me. So what that means is I could either put this 2 in there or this 4 in there, right? Because they're the same. I'm just going to replace that with a 4. So I'm going to rewrite this. Replacing this with 4 because 2 and 4 are the same. And that's what you a lot of times want to end up with. You want to get something on each side that will cancel each other out. All I did here was substitution. Now, if I subtract angle 4 from each side, I'm left with angle 1 equals angle 3. And that was just subtraction. And is this what they were asking us to prove?
Yeah.
Look at the prove over there. There. So we're done. We proved it. So again, this is longer than any that you'd have to do, but the different parts you're going to have to know how to do. Linear pair and vertical angles, we've already learned this. What do you know about a linear pair? They add up to 180. And what do you know about vertical angles?
They're the same.
They're congruent. They're the same. Okay? So in this picture, this is kind of like what we're doing in our assignment today, stuff we've done before. It tells us 3 is a right angle. Measure of 5 is 57. We're going to find all the other measures. So, what other angle is going to be 57 degrees? 2, because they're vertical. And then 5 and 1 are a linear pair, right?
Yeah.
So I just subtract that off of 180, 123. 4 and 5 got to form a 90 because 3 is a 90. So just subtract that off of 90.
30. I don't know.
Yep, 33.
So then 3 is 90.
Yep, 3 is 90, but that was given to us right
Oh,
here.
okay.
So, this is exactly what we did last chapter and on the test. We got to find the measure of each angle, and in order to do that, we need to figure out what x is. So, you need to write an equation. And in geometry, the things either equal each other or they add up to equal something.
No, we those add up to equal 180.
Right. These are not equal to each other, but added together, they total a straight line, which is 180. Ever understand that?
Yeah.
So you need to solve it. 3x and 6x, when you combine them, makes 9x. A negative 17 plus 8 is negative 9, equals 180. So add 9, divide by 9, and that is 21. Now, this is again where they try to trick you. We're so used to just solving for x, where we would just stop right there. You gotta remember what they're asking for, and they do this when you take your MCA test next year. They'll give you multiple choice, and this will be one of your choices. And if you don't pay attention, you'll put that and get it wrong, even though you did the work right. We wanna find the measure of the angle, so you gotta plug 21 back in here. So this angle is 3 times 21 minus 17, which is 46 degrees. And this one's 6 times 21 plus 8, which is 134. Okay? This one's a little tricky. It looks like two straight lines that intersect, but they're not. Hopefully everyone can see that, but if you look too quick, you might get it wrong.
Yeah.
That
angle will be bigger.
Right. There is one straight line right here, but this is crooked. But we can figure out what angle 2 is because these two together form a straight line. So if we subtract this off of 180, we get 148. Then, how are you going to figure out what 1 is?
Well, what you gotta do is you gotta subtract 21 from.
These two together form a 180. So just subtract 21 from 180. 159. And remember, what do they got to all add up to? 360.